You know, usually when you make a major life change for the better, like deciding to eat healthier or finally organizing your chaotic garage, you expect this immediate sense of relief.
Right. I mean, you expect a reward for your good behavior. The sky's clear and the angels sing.
Exactly. But then you step into the realm of moral and spiritual development, and suddenly, well, the exact opposite happens.
It really does.
You decide to commit to a highly ethical path, like maybe you become a Christian, and suddenly it feels like you are drowning in a sea of new temptations. Okay, let's unpack this.
It really is a striking paradox. You make a choice to avoid bad decisions, and suddenly bad decisions are, like, all you can see.
It feels like you're failing right out of the gate. So today we're doing a custom deep dive into a March 26th pastoral message by Pastor Huzi Krang. He asks a critical question. Why does trying to be good suddenly make bad decisions look so incredibly appealing?
And his answer to this is fascinating. To explain why this happens, he uses this incredibly vivid analogy, comparing it to PM 2.5.
Oh, those microscopic toxic pollution particles.
Right. The ones that are so small they slip right past your body's natural defenses. Think about it. In the past, people burned charcoal in their homes or set fields on fire without a second thought.
Yeah, they had absolutely no idea.
Exactly. But now that we are aware of the hidden dangers of those suspended particles, we actively track the air quality and avoid the smog.
So what does this all mean for us? Does trying to be good just make us, hyper aware of our toxic surroundings, like noticing secondhand smoke only after you finally quit smoking?
Yes, what's fascinating here is that feeling overwhelmed by temptation isn't a sign of personal failure at all.
Wait, really? Because it definitely feels like failure.
I know, but it is actually a sign of heightened moral sensitivity. The pollution was always there, you just didn't have the sensors to detect it.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense.
Take the workplace, for example. Before committing to this path, you might have laughed along with inappropriate workplace jokes or ignored subtle forms of harassment because it was just part of the culture.
Right, you just blend in and don't think twice.
But once you raise your ethical baseline, those exact same jokes suddenly feel glaringly offensive. The environment hasn't changed, but your sensitivity to moral pollution has.
Okay, so our sensors are picking up all this toxic smog. But merely knowing the air is polluted isn't really enough to survive it.
No, you just panic.
Right, so we need a concrete strategy to navigate through it without choking.
And Pastor Hugh outlines a primary defense mechanism to handle this, which is internalizing foundational truths. He points to the example of Jesus in the book of Matthew chapter 4.
Oh, during the temptation in the desert.
Exactly. When faced with intense temptation, his immediate response wasn't a panicked negotiation. It was repeatedly relying on the phrase, "It is written."
So by deeply immersing yourself in these teachings, you alter your baseline impulsive reactions.
Yes, exactly.
But I have to push back a little here, repeating, "It is written" over and over. Well, it sounds a bit like mindless rote memorization.
I can see why you'd say that.
Yeah, is this really just about memorizing text? Or is there a fundamental psychological shift happening? Like, how does reciting a book stop a real biological impulse?
That is the key question. Memorizing the text is just the vehicle. The actual mechanism at play is redirecting your attention. Pastor Hugh compares this to a track runner in a hurdle race.
Okay, I like sports analogies.
If you stare at the hurdle, you are going to hit the hurdle.
Right, you trip right over it.
But if you lock your eyes entirely on the finish line, the hurdle becomes just a blur you pass over. You aren't fighting the temptation, you are out-focusing it.
It's easy to talk about hurdlers in a controlled race, but what happens when the environment is actively working against you?
Well, the text provides the ultimate case study for that, the story of Joseph. Talk about a hostile environment.
Oh, wow, yeah. He was sold into Egyptian slavery by his own brothers at the age of 17, right?
Yes, completely isolated. And he's working as a manager for his boss, Potiphar.
And the boss's wife makes repeated, intense advances.
Right. But Joseph didn't negotiate with the temptation. He didn't stare at the hurdle. He immediately refocused on his finish line, which was his loyalty to his master and to God.
He called it a great evil. He treated it as a hurdle to blur out. But what's crazy is that his reward for that absolute integrity was an unjust prison sentence.
Which raises an important question for you, the listener. How do you maintain that focus when literally everything goes wrong? Because even in prison, his focus gets severely tested.
Right, he had this unique ability to interpret dreams.
Exactly. He could have easily used that to extort the officials he helped, demanding favors or a quick release.
Which is basically the ancient equivalent of manipulative, unethical corporate networking.
Exactly that. But because he refused to take his eyes off his ultimate ethical baseline, he bypassed those shortcuts, and his relentless integrity is what ultimately placed him directly before Pharaoh,
positioning him to save all of Egypt from a catastrophic 7-year famine. So why should you care about this ancient story? Here's where it gets really interesting for me.
Yeah, bring it home.
Feeling tempted just means your moral awareness is functioning perfectly. Your smog sensors are online. Maintaining absolute focus on your ultimate goal is how you clear those hurdles without tripping.
And to wrap up, Pastor Hu brings up a verse, 1 Corinthians 10.14, which notes that there is always a way out provided so you can endure temptation.
Yes, and I want to leave you with this final thought to mull over today. If that way out isn't some magical escape hatch that makes the problem vanish, but rather the internal strength to sit with the discomfort of that smog, well, how might that reframe the very next difficult choice you have to make at work today?